guys, and welcome back to another episode of Missional Mamas. I am so glad to have you here. I just thought I would jump on and do quite a quick little episode today. I just wanted to share some of my thoughts around Christmas because it's the week of Christmas, it's 2 days out, and I had a little bit of time this morning and I wanted to share some of my journey this Christmas and over the past number of Christmases, especially as being a mum, and how it is just such a beautiful time of year. It is such a wonderful opportunity for us to celebrate Jesus and celebrate his birth. But I know for many of us, it can be such a challenging season. It can be really hard. And so that's what I just wanted to share a little bit about today and encourage you all and wish you all a really Merry Christmas. So welcome. If you're new here, we interview mums that are missional all around the world, whether they are in the mission field or in ministry or just like living ordinary lives but in a missional way. As a mum, I'm raising kids. I am a mum myself. I have 4 young kids. My name is Beck. And I grew up as a missionary kid and I have served in the mission field, and I hope to be back there one day in the Lord's timing. But for now, I am on this journey of figuring out what it looks like to be where I am and be planted and live my life in a missional way that that really just loves my neighbor and loves the person that's right in front of me. And so if you are interested in doing this journey with me and with the guests that I bring on and hearing some of the most incredible journeys of the women, the mums that I interview and chat with and hear from their wisdom, I invite you to follow along. We're on YouTube, we're on any platform that you find your podcasts. Follow along, subscribe, leave a comment and like. It always helps. I'd love for this to just be such a blessing to more and more mums. So please do that if you haven't already, and welcome. So I wanted to share, first of all, a little bit about some of my Christmases that haven't been like exactly as we kind of imagine, right? Like when you think about Christmas and you think about all the traditions, I think that a lot of us in the Western world maybe do. When you are not necessarily in the Western world, those traditions don't always happen. And so it can be such a mix of your own, maybe like some of it was my own family's traditions, some of it was wherever I was living, some of it was just like the traditions that you see around you. And then as we've gotten like further and further along, it's traditions that you maybe see on TV or that you see online, or and it's about trying to incorporate what's the like thing that's important for our family and what do we want out of each Christmas. And sometimes that doesn't look like what everyone else does. I grew up with all the kind of, I guess, normal things like Santa and presents and a tree, although our Christmas tree we lived in Thailand for most of my childhood, and so it was like just a real tree that wasn't like a pine tree necessarily. It was like a little tree that we would kind of bring in at Christmas time, and then the rest of the year it would just live in the yard in a pot. And so that was really fun. I used to love decorating, and both my parents were they were missionaries, and their role as missionaries was providing, like they did handicrafts, and so they would provide jobs for people that otherwise would have no income and no job opportunities. And so they made handicrafts, and so often our house was filled to the brim with decorations, handicrafts. Christmas was a big thing that they made craft for, and so they had little like nativity sets. They had baubles that these women had painted, and so my house was very full of a lot of those things as a child. But some of the most memorable Christmases for me were actually ones where I have 4 older brothers, and they couldn't always join us for Christmas. They went to boarding school when I was quite young, and so and then they were at university. They were a lot older than me, and so a lot of my childhood Christmases were not with my immediate family. It was really often just me and my parents, and one of my brothers that lived at home. When he then went to university, it was just me and my parents for a number of years. And so I remember a lot of Christmases with my parents inviting whoever they could. Anyone that was in town that didn't have family nearby, that didn't have someone to spend the holidays with, they would invite them over for a huge Christmas lunch. And often the people that we didn't, like that weren't immediate family or that I didn't know outweighed our own family, like outnumbered. And so often it was just this big gathering, and we would have all sorts of different things, especially when it was in Thailand. I think sometimes my parents would go out of their way to make more Western food, like more Australian food that they loved. But I was always like, can we add more Thai food? And just sometimes it would be this mix of like whatever was available and whatever we really loved and whatever, you know. And then sometimes we'd have like, someone might bring a special ham or something, which was usually not available in Thailand. Sometimes people would bring it from overseas, like it would be an imported thing, and it's just such a special thing. But I loved having Christmases like that and having just so many people around a table sharing and fellowshipping, and almost always it was just this beautiful time of sharing about Jesus. My dad always used to do the Advent candles, and that's something that I'm working towards doing with my kids. I think that we're still on the like young end, and we might try it next year, lighting the candles and sitting down and doing our devotions. At the moment it's just chaos when we do devotions, so adding some flames to that is probably not what I want to do. But next year I really want to do that, because it's something I remember my dad doing. He would open up his big Advent devotional book, and we would sit down and we would light the candle and we would pray and talk. And I just remember that being such a beautiful memory, and a really fun time of year to celebrate. And I remember like it getting dark and us like doing it in the dark and it being a very special thing, but it was not when I was very little. And I also loved the Christmases that were really out of the ordinary. Some Christmases we would spend traveling, and especially this one Christmas I remember, my parents used to live in Bangladesh and serve there, and that's where I grew up the first 4 years of my life. But I hadn't been able to go back until I was in high school. And when I was in high school, we went back for a trip, and I remember in Bangladesh they don't celebrate Christmas because it's a fully Muslim country, and I don't know about now, I'm sure that there are things now, but in the little town that my parents and my family used to live in, there's no decorations, like not really, there's no Christmas trees, there's not really any lights, there's nothing Christmassy, right? And I loved it. Don't get me wrong, I love like Christmas lights, I love Christmas trees, and I love the decorations. But in Thailand, it's a very like commercialized thing. In Thailand, they don't celebrate Christmas for Jesus. They celebrate because they just are like, oh, a cool Western holiday, let's celebrate that. Predominantly in the culture, the churches obviously celebrate Jesus. But you go to the shops and it's just like packed with Christmas decorations everywhere, and they blare the Christmas music so loud. I guess kind of like Australia, but I always found it so over commercialized. And because like there's still places in Australia where you will see like a nativity scene, or like churches will decorate and do like a lot of Christmas stuff, and I feel like there's at least still a hint of it. And in Thailand growing up, there was just it was just another holiday that they loved to put tinsel up for. And I remember feeling this like confusion of why is it just so decorated but there's no substance to it. And so being in Bangladesh with like none of that, there's no decorations, nothing to say it's Christmas time other than the fact that it was mildly cold. I just loved it because we went back 1 year over Christmas, and this little village that my parents and my family grew up in was so just like ordinary, like everything was just carrying on. And I think it was myself and my older brother and his wife and my parents, and we just had the most amazing time that morning for Christmas, where I think we did like a few little gifts, and then we read the Bible together, and we worshipped and prayed together. And it was like it was like a turning point for me. I must have been like 15 or something. And it was this turning point of like, wow, like this is actually what Christmas is about. And this is beautiful. And those are the things that I remember, you know. I remember then going and sharing a meal with our friends, our local friends in the town. And they were Muslim, but they recognized that this was a big holiday for us and a big deal, and so they were so beautiful. They invited us into their home, and we had like a big curry dinner, and it was just so beautiful because they, in their hospitality, they recognized like this is such a big important thing for you, and so we want to make a beautiful big dinner for you. And goodness, that was just like so kind and so loving of them. And I want to always do that for others, like recognize what's an important thing for you and how can I bless you in that, like how can I make this the most thoughtful thing for you. And so I think in the chaos of all of the Christmases and the fact that it's the end of year for a lot of us, at least it's the end of the calendar year, and for some of us it's the end of the school year. Being a parent in this time of year is fundamentally exhausting. I don't know about you, but I am just really exhausted. And as a parent, when your kids go on like holidays, that might be great and everything. Like it might be, oh, this is nice. I don't have like all of the things to rush to. And we have family, but it comes with other things. It comes with your kids being home all the time. We've just had a heat wave, so it's come with our kids being in our house all the time. It comes with having to navigate families and different needs over the holidays, different kids' emotions over the holidays, because they're probably extra tired and they're probably extra emotional. And so all of that can sometimes feel just so overwhelming. But if that is you, and if you are sitting here going, gosh, I am just not really looking forward to this time of year, and I am really keen for it to be over, this is for you. And I want you to sit in the chaos, and I want you to be okay with the chaos and the exhaustion and all of that, because the first Christmas was messy and chaotic and like nothing like we probably would have planned, or if we had been in charge of it, you know. But the first Christmas is where God showed up. He showed up in this beautiful little town that no one was expecting, that no one was, you know, ready. And yet he showed up. And I think that sometimes that's such a beautiful picture of how we are in this place where we're not expecting God, right? I think sometimes this time of year we can get so distracted with expectations, with the needs, and with just how overwhelming it is. But God wants to show up in that quiet way, in the mess, in the chaos, in a very meaningful and powerful way. And so I really just wanted to encourage you to notice where God is already showing up. And if you are just done and you have like nothing in your tank, that's okay, because He's the one that shows up. He's the one that sustains you. He's the one that pours out of you. It's not us. And at the end of the year, I often feel like that there is just like nothing good left in me, and I am at the very end of my tank. And yet, God, it's not me. It's not me, it's Christ in me. And so I just want to encourage you. And if you are feeling like I'm not quite at the end of my tank, I do have things that I want to do and I am excited, but I just don't know where or how, and you're looking for some, you know, some specific ways to bless those around you, or live that kind of missional life, can I suggest that sometimes less is more? And I don't mean less like, oh, do less necessarily, but I think sometimes like we can open Instagram or we can open Pinterest and be like, great, like I have all these plans for these big snazzy things that I want in my, you know, gifts for teachers or gifts for neighbors, or inviting people around and making this big thing. And sometimes like that is some of our giftings, like do not get me wrong, that is a beautiful, beautiful gift. But sometimes it's going, how can I do something that's meaningful with what I have? And sometimes that what I have is like very little, but it's still worth doing something, even with the very little. So this year I was just like, I do not have much in me, and so I'm going to do the most basic gift for my neighbors that I possibly can, and yet I am still going to package something very small up that I don't have to do a whole lot for. And it was very easy and minimal effort, and I got my kids to help me, but then it's just a little wishing them Merry Christmas and having a little Bible verse and popping that on their doorstep and inviting people around for if they are around during the holidays, and like my parents did, if they don't have somewhere to be, if they don't have family, inviting them around, and just it being really simple and basic. I think people are often blessed by just the intention, and often blessed by just that really simple way of just saying, like, here we are, like this is our family, and we just want to share that and bless you with kind of just our presence with you. And hosting like really is such a gift for people, and I know that hosting is not always my forte. Like, I am not always very good at it, but there is something about opening up your home that is really, really special and important. And so as a mum, I try to open that, and I'm trying to do it more, to open it up as much as I possibly can, and to really let go of it being perfect, and let go of it being like how I imagine it or how I see on Instagram. We have a tiny house. We have 4 young children. We do not have a lot of space, and yet I love filling the space. Even though it's overwhelming, even though I will be up late washing dishes, even though I will be cleaning the house like frantically before people come over, at least vacuuming. I might not get to much more than that with the kids, but it's really about the intention behind it, and it is such a gift to people to be welcomed into your home. That is something that I absolutely learned growing up, but also then it was something that I kind of forgot and really learned again when we lived in Mexico, because people will invite you into their house even if they have got like 20 square feet of space. It is just so beautiful. They will welcome you in, and they will find any spot for you to possibly sit on, and it'll be mess sometimes, and it's chaos because there's kids everywhere running around, and there's food being made, and it's tiny, and I love it. It is just the most beautiful, hospitable, kind, generous, open, welcoming, loving environment. And I want to be like that with the space that I have. I want people to come and feel that welcome and feel like they're just part of our family. Like, you come into our home and you are part of our family. And so can I encourage you that this year, to just, even if you're not able to host, and even if you're not able to gift, that there are little ways that you can just encourage someone, sending a text, sending a card, sending a little, I'm thinking of you this Christmas, and may the peace of Jesus be resting on you as you go through this season. Maybe it's popping around some groceries to a family that you know don't necessarily have the ability to make a big Christmas lunch this year. Maybe it's just speaking life and reminding your kids about what Christmas is about. We've done lots of little things this year that typically in the past we have really struggled with the commercialization of Christmas, and there's been a few things that we've tweaked this year for our kids to try and just remind them of what Christmas is really about. And so one of those things is that we don't do Elf on the Shelf, but our kids have a lot of friends that do Elf on the Shelf, and they talked about, when we get up in the mornings, like, we want to go and find an elf. And I borrowed this friend from Leah, who has been on the channel before. She, on the little Instagram Raising Disciples, she shared about this, where she does like her little traveling Mary and Joseph. So they do like their nativity set is like all set up, and then they have their little like Mary and Joseph, and every night they go and hide Mary and Joseph around the house, and the kids get to find them in the morning because Mary, and then we talk about like Mary and Joseph went on a very, very long journey to Bethlehem, and then that's where Jesus was born. And so all throughout the month of December we have our Advent calendar. Actually, we've done a very fun Advent calendar this year. We decided, we were sick of, I have like one of those little cloth ones that you can put your own things in, which is really nice because we got, there's just so many Advent calendars that have like chocolate and lollies, and they already get so much over the Christmas break, like from school and from friends and families and parties and all the things, that they just get like loads of sugar over this time. So we thought, how can we reduce it, but how can we put something in? And last year I think we put in like a Bible verse, like going through the whole story of the birth of Jesus. We put a Bible verse in every day, but it was not as exciting as we thought it was. Very exciting, but the kids, they were a bit disappointed. But we kind of introduced that whole, we're not going to do like lollies and chocolate in our Advent calendar, but we are going to be excited in the lead up to Christmas. And so I made a calendar with our Advent calendar. I made a separate page, and it just so happens that in our family, so in like my side of the family and Andy, my husband's side of the family, we have 24 members, minus our, like myself, Andy, and our 4 kids, minus us. So 24. And I said, well, why don't we put a picture of each member of our family in all of the things, and then every day we can pull them out and pop them on our little board. We have a little board with all their names and little Velcro spots, and that we pray for that person each day. So it's been really, really fun, and it's been great for our kids to actually also remember who their cousins are, match the face to the name, and then pray for them and pray for whatever we think is going to bless them that day. And that's been really fun. So all their aunties and uncles and their cousins got prayed for, and their grandparents. And that's been really special. Such a fun way to do it. And I think next year I'm going to maybe incorporate like a bit of everything. So a bit of like, one day might be praying for a family member, one day it might be praying for a people group, one day it might be praying for people overseas, like serving in the mission field. It might be praying for our pastors. It might be like all sorts of things. And then like a couple of those days will just be like the Bible verses. And kids love to have something to like stick things onto. So I think that was really helpful actually this year, where they had something to post it onto. So yeah, those are just some of our little examples of how we try to like bring it back to what the season's about. And don't get me wrong, like we go and get ice creams, and we go and do Christmas light, and like we put up a Christmas tree, and you know, we do Christmassy things, and there's nothing wrong with any of those, but I just love doing things that are going to remind our kids and remind us of the fact that Jesus came into this world as a baby, God with us, Immanuel, and he is still that God with us. He is still Immanuel. He is still with us. And I just love this time of year, being able to celebrate that and remember that. So if this is a blessing to you, I'm so stoked. I'm so glad that you're here, you're watching and following along this journey. I will be back in the new year. I have a really exciting episode to share with you in the new year that I'm editing, and I am so excited for our journey ahead. In the new year, I'm going to keep sharing some of my little stories and some of my journey of what it looks like to be a mum that is trying to be missional and that is trying to serve Jesus where I am. I am going to be sharing some exciting new little things along the way, and I'm really, really excited for where this is going. So I pray that the peace of Jesus will rest on you and your family this Christmas. I pray that you will have a beautiful time. I pray that you enjoy time with your family, and that the Lord would meet you right where you are. Don't forget to look out for where God is already at work. Notice where he is moving, and just rest in that. So Merry Christmas, everybody. I thank you so much for being here. Please, if you haven't already, click subscribe, follow along, click like, I don't know, whatever the review things are, you know what they are. Please do them and help this get out to more people. Thank you so much. Bless you.